Welcome students, this is second part of Interpreter of Maladies. In the first part we already know about Mr. and Mrs. Das, both are wife and husband. They have three children, Ronnie, Bobby and Tina. In order to visit their parents and the Konark temple, they came to India from America. Then they are going to visit Konark. They booked a cab of Mr. Kapasi and they are on the way of the Konark temple. In cab driver Mr. Kapasi asked a question, when you left the India? In the second part, Mr. Das gives the answer. How Maina and I were both born in America. Mr. Das announced with an air of sudden confidence, born and raised. Our parents live here now, they retired. We visit them every couple of years. Turned to watch as the little girl ran towards the car. The wide purple bows of her sundress flopping on her narrow brown shoulders. She was holding to her chest a doll with yellow hair that looked as if it had been chopped, as a primitive measure, with a pair of dull scissors. This is Tina's first trip to India. It is, isn't it, Tina? Answer to the Mr. Kapasi's question. He answered that we both are Mr. Das and Maina Das. Both are born in America and then he brought up. He said like that. And our parents lives in India only. They were retired and we visited them in each 2 years. Then Tina is running towards the car, and her hair and sundry small things are flopping on her narrow brown shoulders. She was holding a small doll with yellow hair. Its hair is a pinto measure. Pinto means intended as a punishment heavily. That is with a dull pair of scissors. Tina first trip to India. This is the first trip to India. I don't have to go to the bathroom anymore, Tina announced. But Tina insists that I don't want to go to bathroom. Where is Maina? Mr. Das asked. Mr. Das asks about Maina. Mr. Kapasi found it strange that Mr. Das should refer to his wife by her first name when, speaking to the little girl, Tina pointed to where Mrs. Das was purchasing something from one of the shirtless men who worked at the tea stall. Mr. Kapasi heard one of the shirtless men sing a phrase from a popular Hindi love song as Mrs. Das was walked back to the car, but she didn't appear to understand the words of the song. First, she didn't express irritation or embarrassment or react in any other way to the man's declaration. Mr. Kapasi is watching very carefully. He notices that Mr. Das called her wife Maina with his first name. Actually, her name is Maina Das. He calls her with first name. The little girl pointed out that there is her mother, Mrs. Das, is purchasing something from the buying something from that shirtless man. Mr. Kapasi heard something that is the shirtless man sings a popular love song in Hindi, and that is something uncomfortable like that, and his words are what he is telling that he didn't know. She didn't know the meaning of that words, and so she didn't show any. He observed her. She wore a red and white checkered skirt that stopped above her knees, slip-on shoes with a square wooden heel, and close-fitting blouse styled like a men's undershirt. The blouse was decorated at chest level with a calico applique in the shape of a strawberry. She was a short woman with a small hands like paws, her frosty pink fingernails painted to match her lips, and was slightly plump in her finger. Her hair, shone only a little longer than her husband's, was parted far to one side. She was wearing large, dark brown sunglasses with a pinkish tint to them, and carried a big straw bag almost as big as her torso, shaped like a ball. With a water bottle poking out of it, she walked slowly, carrying some puffed rice tossed with peanuts and chili pepper in a large packet made from newspaper. Mr. Kapasi observes each and everything of the Mrs. Das, that means Maina Das. In what she wears, and she wears a red and white color checked skirt that is topped above her knees. That means they are Indians, but they dress like Americans. She wear a wooden heel shoes, and she wear a blouse that is under man's undershirt like. Her blouse is decorated with the applique work of strawberry applique work. She is a woman of short woman, and her paws are very small. Her fingers are fingers are painted with pink, matching with lips and slightly plump in the figure. Her hair is short, shorn means cut off, only a little longer than her husband, and parted for one side. She wears large dark brown sunglasses, pinkish shade with that glasses. She also carries a straw bag that is like shaped like a ball, and she is carrying puffed rice. That means in India we call it chaat like that. Mr. Kopasi turned to Mr. Das. Where in America do you live? New Brunswick, New Jersey, said Mr. Das. Next to New York. Exactly. I teach middle school there. What subject? In science. In fact, every year I take many students on a trip to the Museum of National History in New York City. In a way, we have a lot in common. You could say, you and I. How long have you been a tour guide, Mr. Kapasi? 5 years. Mr. Das reached the car. Mrs. Das reached the car. How long the trip? She asked, shutting the door. About 2.5 hours, Mr. Kapasi replied. At this, Mrs. Das had an impatient sign, as if she had been travelling her whole life without pass. She fanned herself with a folded Bombay film magazine written in English. I thought that the Sun Temple is only 18 miles north of Puff, Mr. Das said, tapping on the tour book. The roads to the Konark are poor. Actually, it is a distance of 52 miles, Mr. Kapasi explained. Mr. Das nodded, readjusting the camera strap where it had begun to chafe the back of his neck. Before starting the ignition, Mr. Kapasi reached back to make sure the crank-like locks on the inside of each of the back doors were secured. As soon as the car began to move, the little girl began to play with the lock on her side, clicking it with some effort forward and backward, but Mrs. Das said nothing to stop. She sat a bit slouched at one end of the back seat, not offering her puffed rice to anyone. Ronnie and Tina sat on either side of her, both snapping bright green gum. Look, Bobby, said as the car began to gather speed. He pointed with his finger to the tall trees that lined the road. Look, monkeys, Ronnie shrieked, wow. And they were seated in groups along the branches with the shining back faces, silver bodies, and horizontal eyebrows, and crested heads, their long grey tails dangled like a series of tops among the leaves. A few scratched themselves with their black, leathery hands or swung their feet. Straining as the car passed, we call them the Hanuman, Mr. Kapas said. They are quite common in that area. As soon as he spoke, one of the monkeys leaped into the middle of the road, causing Mr. Kapasi to brake suddenly. Another bounced on the hood of the car, then sprang away. Mr. Kapasi beeped his horn. The children began to get excited, suckling in their breath and covering their faces partly with their hands. They had never seen monkeys outside of the zoo. Mr. Das explained. He asked Mr. Kapasi to stop the car so that he could take a picture. In this paragraph, they are telling about there are so many monkeys on the trees, and they are scratching themselves, and they are stinging and swung on the feet. These are all kinds of monkeys doing. And Kabasi said that these all are common in this place, and we call them Hanuman. Hanuman. As soon as one monkey is leaped into the middle of the road, and Kapasi applied brake suddenly. Another bounded on car hood. He beeped the horn. The children are excited and they cover their faces with the hands. Mr. Das wants to take a photograph of them. While Mr. Das adjusted his photo lens, Mrs. Das reached into the straw bag and pulled out a bottle of colorless nail polish, which she proceeded to stroke on the tip of her index finger. The little girl stuck out a hand. Mine too, Mummy, do mine too. Leave me alone, Mrs. Das said, blowing on her nail and turning her body slightly. You are making me mess up. The little girl occupied herself by buttoning and unbuttoning a pinafore on the doll's plastic body. All set, Mr. Das said, replacing the landscape. Mr. Das is distinctly photo lens, but Mrs. Das is not interested in the photography. She took her straw bag and pick up some nail polish and polishes her nails. Her daughter Tina asks her also paint her nails also, but she rejected to paint her girl's nails. The little girl is unbuttoning and buttoning her doll's plastic bodies. Pinafore means collarless dress. All set, Mr. Das said, replacing the lens cap. The car rattled considerably as it raced along the dusty road, causing them all to pop up from their seats every now and then, but Mrs. Das continued to polish her nails. Mr. Kapasi eased up on the accelerator, hoping to produce a smoother ride. When he reached for the gear shift, the boy in front of accommodated him by swinging his hairless knees out of the way. Mr. Kapasi noted that this boy was slightly paler than the other. Here, the car rattled means pickup speed and going very fast. But Kapasi is controlling his car with gear like that. Mrs. Das is painting her nails. Thank you. Thank you.